Have you gotten a 0 on one of your posts? Most students have this experience within the first few weeks of my course. The purpose of this Headless Professor video is to talk about why students get zeros on their posts and what effect this will have on your semester grade. Now, there are many different ways of earning a 0 on a post. Perhaps the most obvious is to say the wrong thing. If you use a lot of words that are on the forbidden list, that's going to cost you points. And if you use enough of those forbidden words, you're going to end up with 0 points. Did you have some confusing pronouns? That's going to cost you. Did you fail to use an apostrophe for a contraction or a possessive? Or worse yet, did you throw in an apostrophe to make a word plural? Don't do that. Did you misuse terms like negative for bad or positive meaning good? Don't do that in medical writing. Did you use unnecessary terms like feel that or opinion? Did you use accurate instead of a more precise term like valid, reliable, precise? Did you use vague euphemisms or dysphemisms like issues? Use the proper terminology. Take a look at the terms list and follow it. Of course, one wrong answer could give you a complete 0 if it's a wrong answer on the main question. If you had a question about subjects, did you give an answer about variables? Subjects are people or animals. They're not variables. When asked what kind of research it was, did you call it a case study, even though it had more than one subject? When asked what kind of research it was, did you call it an experiment just because it was done in a laboratory? No, if an independent variable was not manipulated, it's not an experiment. Hint, most research is in the form of a survey that simply measures several variables in a large sample. When asked what kind of variable was this, did you assume it was the criterion variable? Only the future or outcome is usually going to be a criterion variable. Most variables are independent variables that are measured and used as predictors. When asked what a correlation was, did you call it negative just because the results were bad? That's not what the word negative means in this class. When asked, was there a cause and effect relationship? And you said, yes, we have an independent variable and a dependent variable, therefore there must be a cause and effect relationship. Well, unless it's an experiment or unless you've carefully accounted for all possible confounding variables, you are committing the post hoc fallacy. Another reason some students end up getting a 0 is they said a lot, but nothing was of value. They took a long time getting to the point. You don't have to start by saying, this is a very important topic. It's been discussed a long time by a lot of people. You don't have to mention all those people who've discussed it before. I want you to get to the point. Your first sentence should give your perspective, your unique example. Start saying something of value in the beginning. If you keep going on and on, that's not going to help you. Indeed, it's just more opportunity for you to say the wrong thing and lose points for that. Don't give me a list. Now, Santa Claus needs a long list, but you don't. Just make one point with one example, present it in depth, and then make sure that example applies to your point. Also, you can get a 0 for repeating a good answer if that good answer was already given by somebody else. Don't be a copycat. Just because you agree with someone else who gave the right answer, that doesn't mean that you can share in the points. Now, I'm not going to accuse you of plagiarism. I'm just going to give you a 0. So, another thing, sometimes I have a list of questions I want answered about a specific research. And I say, please only answer one of these. And I have several reasons for that. I want a focused, concentrated response from you, but more importantly, I want the other members of the class to have an opportunity to answer a different question. If you go in and try to answer 5 questions, you are cheating your fellow students out of the opportunity of earning some points on a different answer. So if you answer more than one question, you'll get a 0. And your other students will not be happy about what you did. Now, I want to talk about how you should respond to getting a 0. And I'm going to use an analogy of one of my favorite baseball players. This is Reggie Jackson. He played for many years for the Oakland A's and ended up with the New York Yankees. And he is now in baseball's Hall of Fame. A great player. Indeed, the New York Yankees have retired his number along with Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio, Yogi Berra. He's that famous. We all remember Reggie Jackson because of the 563 home runs that he hit. And we remember just hitting the ball really far, knocking in other runs. Indeed, he had 1,702 runs batted in. But neither of those figures were all-time records. But Reggie Jackson does hold an all-time record. Not for the home runs he hit, not for the runs he batted in, but for the 2,597 times he struck out. Yeah, he struck out more times than he batted in a run. He struck out nearly 5 times as often as he hit a home run. But he's still in the Hall of Fame. But when he struck out, he looked really good striking out. I want you to be like Reggie Jackson. I'm not going to focus on the strikeouts, the zeros. I'm going to focus on your home runs when you hit a good post. Now here's how you earn an A for the course. After receiving a 0 on a post, the next day, go on to another topical thread and make one post. And avoid the same problems that got you the 0 on the last post. So a post rate of 0 does not prevent you from getting an A for the course. Most A students have gotten at least one, usually several, zeros throughout the course of the semester. But they came back the next day and they made a good post. Remember, getting a 0 does not lower your average. We don't use averages in calculating your grades. We use point totals. Now, you cannot have a do-over for that same day or a do-over for the same thread, but think of tomorrow's post on a different topic as a do-over. There are more topics than there are days remaining in the semester. So hopefully you'll be like Reggie Jackson and you'll make it into my Hall of Fame of A students.